At this point, Jujutsu Kaisen will be talked about in my next philosophy lecture with all of these recent conversations. Yo, what's going on everybody, it's Animasu, and today's video will cover the events of Jujutsu Kaisen's 238th chapter. If you enjoy these videos and would like to see more, make sure to subscribe to the channel, comment on my videos, and even join my community Discord if that interests you. Thank you so much for tuning in, and please enjoy the video. To actually start off this chapter, we get to see Kashimo using his newly revealed curse technique in a pretty interesting way. Kashimo is said to be analyzing Sukuna's true form with X-ray vision, with him only coming to one single conclusion about his true form. It's utterly perfect. The fanboying is kind of crazy, but we'll let it slide the one time for Kashigo. We then get to see the shadowy POV of Sukuna walking out holding his cursed tool, with now both he and Kashimo facing off with their true forms. With the scene then switching to show us the true king of curses, the narrator actually reveals too that this body has more than just sentimental value. As we can see from his pose here, Sukuna is able to make hand signs while also having two hands free, and he also is able to chant incantations with no strain on himself as his stomach mouth does that for him. What an unsettling thing to benefit you, a literal stomach mouth. It's obviously then explained that a sorcerer could have no greater advantage over twice the number of arms and mouths, because that makes incantations and hand signs basically effortless. It also points out that although Sukuna's body is taking a distorted form, not a single one of his body functions are actually hindered. We then get to see some more interesting backstory about Sukuna here as well, as a flashback of his dominance is then shown. The narrator explains that while using this form back in the day while wielding his pair of cursed tools, Sukuna actually annihilated all 5 of the major clan generals, as well as the elite celestial squad. He was just taking anyone and everyone on back in his prime, and the old man is still catching bodies to this day. While we then get a wider view of Kashimo's interesting form, he seems to have these cool Oni horns on his head alongside it just looking badass. He's also standing there in awe at the sight before him, because he literally wonders how Sukuna is so beautiful? Ayo, what did my man just say? Nah, on a serious note, Kashimo is just speaking with some Baki type of inspiration, as he's referencing beauty in terms of Sukuna's battle-perfect body. With Kashimo then suddenly disappearing, however, I guess he figured out that it was time to stop with the glazing and actually jump into action, as we see him make an attempt on Sukuna. With his 4 arms, however, the King of Curses is just easily able to grab our man Kashimo to then do him dirty. Sukuna takes a note out of Gojo's book as he then throws Kashimo away while barraging him with hits, and these seem to do a significant amount of damage on our hero. Sukuna's form here is actually so unfair. I mean, the amount of power he can put into his attacks and the advantages it gives him with Jujutsu convenience, defense, offense, I mean, damn. An interesting thing to point out here too is that Sukuna is quite literally utilizing all 4 of his arms here by even holding his cursed tool in his mouth. Leaping into the air in response, however, Kashimo begins to raise his hands seemingly to do some sort of spirit bomb attack. This man is groaning and yelling as cursed energy is forming all near his hands. Meanwhile, Sukuna is just kind of standing there with a smile on his face. While then screaming out, Kashimo unleashes just a straight up Kamehameha here like copyright infringement doesn't exist. I guess his form is best suited to do anything at all cursed energy related, so my man is just mega adaptable. With the beam then approaching Sukuna, his stomach mouth then actually begins to chant an incantation, while he himself says the coldest thing ever. I would look out. While slashing his hand downwards, the King of Curses has straight up warned his opponent to dodge this attack. At this point, Kashimo needs to take some notes and make a cursed energy stomach mouth of his own, because Sukuna will be taking full advantage of it. Then releasing this dismantle, we're shown a pretty cool impact shot of how he split Kashimo's cursed attack in half. He's just casually able to unleash citywide attacks within 3 seconds, so honestly it's looking pretty bad for the heroic side. This attack has even landed a bit onto Kashimo, as he realizes the true severity of this fight. This attack from Sukuna is one that literally ended Gojo Satoru's life, leaving him with no time to react before being cut in half. It's quite actually a slash that goes through the world itself. As we're then even shown an overhead view of Kashimo and the slash's destruction, it's pretty crazy to see how potent his AP is now. Speaking of the King of Curses, he then goes on to tell Kashimo that there was once another fool who preached to him about love. According to her, Sukuna knew nothing about it. He lives in a peerless world, completely all by himself. He actually goes on to say that he understands what she meant, however it's just annoying to hear somebody yap about what he doesn't know. In his eyes, she seemingly chose the wrong people to preach to about love, as Kashimo and Gojo would have been much better company for her. Now in his talk here, he's obviously referring to Yozuru and her quest to make him feel love I guess, but this curse is just fine alone sitting atop of the world. Sukuna then goes on to say that Kashimo already knows the answer to the truth that he seeks, however he just cannot comprehend it yet. This even leaves Kashimo confused and asking what he means, because I guess both of them feel the need to get philosophical mid-fight. While then gripping his cursed tool, Sukuna states to Kashimo that he was strong, to then swing the tool down, striking his opponent with a lightning attack. Now this compliment to Kashimo means a lot more than just being a surface level statement. However, I'm more concerned about why he continues to use lightning against the lightning user. He answers that question here though, as we see Sukuna basically use this attack as a straightforward distraction, as he's now used his speed to reposition behind Kashimo. The lightning god does make the realization here in turning around while preparing a counter. However, it seems to be just a little too late. While grabbing Kashimo with his arms and stopping his attack, Sukuna proceeds to beat the absolute shit out of this guy. I know it's just Gege's art style when it comes to fights, but Kashimo's eyes flying around even got me wondering if Sukuna has gear 5 now. Spitting up blood as he's then slammed into the ground, Kashimo does not seem to be doing well here. Sukuna is making light work of him in his awakened form, as he then throws him away, flying through the air. It's interesting to see how even with Kashimo's super powerful form, his once-in-a-lifetime technique, Sukuna is still fighting unfazed, and with the upper hand. There may still be hope though, because Kashimo then prepares another energy blast while he's flying through the air. It seems like the Thunder God won't be defeated so easily. With his eyes then widening however at the sight in front of him, I might have to take back my previous words on this man's situation. Another of these world-cutting slashes is literally filling the sky at his front, while also barreling its way towards this airborne Kashimo. With this, ladies and gentlemen, Gege has off-screen yet another fan favorite, as this decisive blow has actually killed the Thunder God Kashimo. As we then see his old form, Sukuna begins to give him the Jogo treatment as he preaches to him about strength. I'm sure many warriors have given their heart and soul to challenge you. As Kashimo is staring out over this beautiful landscape at his front, Sukuna is actually showing him the real meaning to what he was asking earlier. Those fighters never wanted to curse Kashimo with the burden of being alone. They too just simply wanted to be recognized. They wanted to validate the warrior that they thought themselves to be, and in response, Kashimo slaughtered them to appease their challenge. Sukuna goes on to say that Kashimo asked previously about how the King of Curses could possibly love those beneath him. However, this was the answer all along. Just as Kashimo did, Sukuna served as a pillar of strength and a challenge to those he felled, as they wanted to take the spot of the world's strongest. This sequence here is really showing off even more of Sukuna's knowledge and mentality on the world, which is really interesting coming from what was written to be an inherently evil being. He tells Kashimo that they're both loved because of this strength, with them simply responding back with a love of their own kind. Kashimo, however, spends his time searching for pointless answers while griping about his solitude, which in Sukuna's eyes, makes him greedy, just like Gojo. While closing his eyes and breathing though, Kashimo goes on to angrily ask if this is really all enough for Sukuna. If he really felt this way, why did he mince his soul into multiple cursed objects to then just sit around and wait watching the years fly by? Sukuna once again goes on to give Kashimo a deep and harsh truth, as he assures him that love is worthless. The thought of needing or relying on another person for fulfillment has just never crossed his mind. He eats if he wants to, kills anything that's an eyesore, and gets entertainment out of whatever. The King of Curses lives life in accordance to only what he wants, and if other people can't measure or understand that, then it's their problem, not his. I think Kashimo doesn't fully understand this as he sits in silence for a second, but after thinking on it to then smile, he tells Sukuna that he seems to have had his fill. In response, Sukuna tells him that surprisingly, the flavors of humans are very diverse as they're fleeting, which is apparently the perfect thing for him to do until death. Now, I don't know if this man Sukuna ate Kashimo or something like that, or if just the dismantle disintegrated him, but what he's implying right here is not sitting well with me. I don't know, guys. As the barrier around Hikari's domain is then finally shown to be broken, it's time to see what fighters have emerged from this other battle. Sukuna himself is even watching with interest, as he seems to be scratch-free, holding his curse tool with a smirk. Hikari and Orihime are then shown to be falling from the sky as Idle Death Gambler has seemingly hit its jackpot. Now if this chapter so far hasn't gotten you hyped, I don't really know what will. Just kidding, because that's what this next page is for. As Sukuna is staring up at the sky with Hikari's domain crumbling, Itadori, Yuji, and Higuruma are also jumping into the fight from the sky. Yuji also seems to have some sort of Piccolo-like arms and claws instead of normal fingers, so it's also game time for his maybe curse technique. Now Sukuna does snarkily go on to ask Yuji what this brat could even do, but I think he just might show him the next chapter. On that topic, JJK will unfortunately be on break next week as we are forced to think before all of the action. Let me know down in the comments, do you think Yuji will finally have a fight without his ally dying? And also, how do you think Sukuna will survive in domains like Hikari's or the courtroom itself? If you guys enjoyed today's video and would like to see more content like it, make sure to hit that subscribe button and just support my channel. I really appreciate you all tuning into today's video, and I hope you all continue to have an amazing day.